This video is a continuation of my last one, where I go into a little more detail on the rules of Dwarflocke, but it should be pretty straightforward. Let's get back into it. This is Gareth's stone eye. No, don't look too closely, he doesn't actually have a stone eye, yet. The Stone Eyes are one of the original clans from the dwarf homeworld. A proud family of soldiers and warriors with a history dating back thousands of years. Gareth himself has a lot to prove if he wants to be one of the greats of the Stone Eye family, and have a place in the feasting halls of the afterlife. From his very first moments on the planet, Hoxxes makes it clear what it thinks of dwarven nobility. It's certainly not going to make it easy for Gareth.
Is that all? Don't have more you'd like to send?
The swarms of Hoxxes are relentless, Gareth constantly battling for his life, and the planet is certainly willing to pull out all the stops for this dwarf.
There you are, you bugger! Come on, then! Show me what you're made of!
Gareth brings down the bulk, and I get exposed for not knowing how shield generators work. With his warm welcome taken care of, Gareth manages to meet his quota and head back for the drop pod.
Good work. We're pulling you back in. The mule has docked, initiating launch sequence.
Hoxxes dropped a bulk on this dwarf before it dropped swarmers. Astounding. There's little time to dwell on that, however, as Gareth returns planetside to continue his assignment.
What is that?
Egg collection time.
Oh, shoot it!
Eggs. The company wants them. Don't ask why. Find them, store them, and molly and return. Simple.
What just happened?
Hoxxes makes it abundantly clear that it does not want Gareth around, but aside from the frequent roadblocks, the egg hunt goes off without a hitch.
That's one for the books.
On-site refining starts much the same way.
Liquid Morkite team. Set up pipelines. Fill the on-site
Oh
refinery.
good, a welcome party. I almost forgot where I was.
Simpler. Get to work, roughnecks.
How the hell do things like you survive in a place like this?
Hoxxes tries to keep up the pressure, but Stone Eye's will is indomitable, and before long he leaves the planet victorious once again. And with that victory in hand, Gareth gets a much more important reward.
Oh, I've been needing one of these. Thank you, Lloyd.
And after a quick stop for a hair and mustache upgrade, Gareth was back planetside, where things were not letting up for the dwarf. With the quota finished, it was a long march back to the drop pod, but once again Gareth's resolve saw him through, and another victory was at hand. The salvage operation continued the trend of brutal missions attempting to grind down Gareth, but anytime things seemed bleak, the dwarf managed to push through.
Drop pod powered up and ready to leave. It's time to bring it all home. Get on board, we're leaving with or without you. Retrieving escape pod.
The second egg hunt took Gareth to the cold, frozen wastes of Hoxxes. The start of his missions were becoming predictable at this point.
Are you done? Another one of you?
Gareth manages to put down the second bulk of his career, and I once again show that I don't know how shield generators work. But for Gareth, this mission was far from over.
The swarm is upon you.
Ancestors. I'm sorry.
A proud dwarf struck down in his prime. Even nobility can succumb to Hoxxes. We can hope that he got what he wanted, and that there'll be a seat for him in the feasting halls. Marcus Ironhand. A mercenary by trade, Marcus works for a PMC in the Outer Rim. Has been contracted to Deep Rock to help fill out the workforce. Let's see how a corpo does in the caves of Hoxxes.
Landfall main, moving out.
We're sending you in deep, so be on your guard. Scanners indicate particularly rich veins of morkite and gold further down. Bring it back, boys.
Sector clear.
While the swarms managed to put up some resistance and certainly keep Marcus on his toes, the planet is far more merciful to him than it was to Gareth. And his speed and efficiency allow him to escape the planet without too much trouble. Save for one little scare at the drop pod door.
Extraction commencing. Good work.
With his victory in hand, he heads for the Abyss Bar, but he doesn't have... Oh no.
Thank you, drone.
No. Back planetside. Even with the fewer bugs, Hoxxes still has a few curveballs for Marcus. Especially when it drops a Nadokite breeder on him.
Focusing fire on November Beta. Priority target down, resuming the mission.
Marcus manages to keep it together up until the end, where his attempts to get on the drop pod get a little hairy.
The mule is secured. Initiating launch sequence.
On-site refinery is a relatively uneventful affair for Marcus, as is the second mining expedition where Marcus is able to leave in style.
The mule has been successfully retrieved. Make it snappy, team.
And with that, it was on to salvage operation.
Control, come in. Are you seeing this? What the hell?
Marcus's signal is regained in time for the triangulation sequence, but that only serves to show us him being overwhelmed by the hordes.
Control the arena. The position is overrun. Requesting evac.
Do not leave the triangulation zone. We're losing
Vital
you.
signs critical. Emergency. User death imminent.
Owen Rockbeard, another descendant from the original clans of the dwarf homeworld. Much like Gareth, Owen has much to prove and has the strength and will to... That is unfortunate. Well, moving on.
Congratulations on signing on for Deep Rock Galactic, miner.
This one is weird. I don't have much information at all about this dwarf. I have his employee ID, but most of his documentation is just left blank. Well, his homeworld's here, which is... Oh. Oh, I see. I can't get a read on this dwarf at all. He doesn't communicate with mission control, and he doesn't have much of an emotional reaction to anything going on around him. Marcus prided himself on professionalism and efficiency, but this one is just cold. Even as he makes a break for the escape pod, the clock ticking down and Hoxxes ready to swallow him whole. I can't even begin to know what's going through his head right now.
On your feet, recruit! Everybody else is running but you. Are you going to let them down? Come on, get on your feet! Get up! Move! Move!
Retrieving escape pod.
There's a long war ahead of us, recruit, and as long as your legs still carry you, you need to keep fighting it. Do you understand me, recruit?
The egg hunt mission is a return to the brutality we become more accustomed to on Hoxxes, with large, constant streams of enemies attempting to overwhelm this dwarf. But anytime he gets knocked down, he manages to pick himself back up and keep fighting, and this allows him to finish the mission and get off the planet once again.
The view is secured. Initiating launch sequence.
On-site refining continues the trend of brutality with constant harassment from Praetorians and oppressors.
That's the last ship out of here. It's just us and the enemy now.
But once again, after a long, arduous mission, manages to fill his quota and make it back to the drop pod.
That's one for the books. Retrieving escape pod.
Maybe they're just looking for new homes for us. Peaceful planet somewhere we can start a new life on?
Aye, maybe. Just keep your chin up and maybe laughing.
Back planet side, I think, is one of the strangest missions I've ever personally come across. The planet is bombarded first by a large meteorite, then by fragments shortly after. And once the dust settles there, the first swarm appears.
The swarmers are here.
And then the second swarm. Though this one isn't as easily dealt with.
Eyes up. The swarmers are on you.
And I can't even really put this next event into words. You just kind of have to see what happens. And then the third swarm.
Swarmers engaging. Squish those little buggers.
Despite that bizarre series of events, the quota is met and the dwarf manages to make it back once more. Which means it's time for salvage operation.
Trying to crack the planet, the roof's gonna come down on top of us!
Stay on your feet and keep fighting. We can weather this.
Even with a kit better suited to the mission type, it almost feels hopeless as the glyphids descend on the position. He manages to hang on through the triangulation, but that was only half the battle.
You're jeopardizing the mission. You need to stay close to the fuel cells. Stay close to the fuel cells.
This is where we'll make our stand. The rest of the Empire may have turned their backs on us, but we're still fighting, damn it. And we won't go quietly as our homes are ripped apart and taken from us. We'll fight to the bitter end if we have to. Honor! Honor! Courage! Courage! Death!